Benefits of trading. Directions. You'll be reading with purpose again today. This time, instead of just one purpose question, you get three. Follow the three purpose questions, read along, and write when asked. First, review. Look back to our last lesson. What was the fur trade? Use what you learned to infer. Why did each group trade? The Dakota and Ojibwe traded because. The Europeans traded because. Please pause and write your answers. Reading with purpose, again. 1, set a purpose for reading. 2, read a bit. 3, pause and ask some questions. 4, jot down notes. First purpose question, purpose for reading. How did furs connect Minnesota to world trade? The business of trading. In Europe, people exchanged goods and services for money. European businessmen formed companies such as the Northwest Company in order to profit from the fur trade. Company owners and investors, those who put their own money into a company to help it grow, became wealthy by acquiring furs from American Indians in North America and selling those furs in London and Paris. These companies traded with many native groups at trading posts all around the Great Lakes and across Canada. I learned that. This makes me think of. Please pause and write your answers. The business connections of fur trade companies stretched across the globe. Companies bought goods from around the world to trade with the American Indians. They purchased beads from businesses in Italy and Germany. Iron tools and cloth came from France and Britain. Special red dyes were brought in from China and India. I learned that, and this makes me think of. Please pause, write your answers. This map says direction of trade, North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia. Furs to Europe, and manufactured trade goods to North America. Furs to Asia, spices, dyes, and silks to Europe. How did furs connect Minnesota to world trade? Furs connected Minnesota to world trade by. Pause and write your answer. Second purpose question, purpose for reading. How did European fur traders and Minnesota natives interact with each other? Because the American Indians did not use money, European fur traders developed different ways to buy furs from them. Sometimes the fur trade was a simple matter of exchange. I'll give you this and you give me that. Often, though, it was more complicated because each group had different traditions and ways of doing things. I learned that. This makes me think of. Pause and answer. Traditions such as generosity, gift-giving, and kinship were important to Native people. European traders used these traditions to support business, often giving presents to strengthen relationships with their Native trading partners. Sometimes they married Ojibwe and Dakota women to create kinship ties. When a trader did this, his wife's relatives often became his best customers. Marriage to a trader gave the woman's relatives easier access to desirable European goods. I learned that. This makes me think of. Pause and answer. How did European fur traders and Minnesota natives interact with each other? European fur traders and Minnesota natives interacted by. Pause and answer. Third purpose question, purpose for reading. How did trading benefit both Europeans and Native Minnesotans? Big business, big changes. Most Europeans thought it was important to make money and own personal property. The fur trading companies were no different. Owners and investors, those who put their own money into a company to help it grow, became wealthy by bringing beaver and muskrat furs from North America to London and Paris. Trade with the Dakota and Ojibwe was one part of this far-reaching business. These companies also had trading posts all around the Great Lakes and across what is now Canada. I learned that. This makes me think of. Pause and answer. This trade grew throughout the 1700s and became a massive international business. The fur trading companies became very powerful. Already, skilled hunters and trappers, Native people became more efficient at gathering furs. They used steel traps provided by the Europeans to help gather more beaver pelts. They used iron spearheads, chisels, and axes provided by the Europeans to make it easier to cut into the winter lodges of muskrats. With these new tools, American Indian hunters were able to gather more pelts each year. The pelts became like money for the native people. More pelts meant they were able to purchase more goods from the traders for themselves and their family. I learned that. This makes me think of. Pause and answer. As the fur trading business grew bigger in the 1700s, Europeans and American Indians came to rely on each other for the goods the other could provide. American Indians could now trade for goods they could not make themselves. Some of them became reliant on those goods to make their lives easier. The French and British, on the other hand, relied on the furs to make a profit in Europe. I learned that, and this makes me think of. Pause and answer. How did trading benefit both Europeans and native Minnesotans? Trading benefited Europeans by. Trading benefited the Dakota and Ojibwe by. Pause and answer. One last question with no wrong answers. Think about what might have happened to the Dakota and Ojibwe after the fur trade ended. Do you think the fur trade was ultimately good or bad? I think the fur trade was ultimately because. Pause and answer. Wow, you worked hard today. Turn this thing in at MNS Benefits of Trading. Thanks.